A 90-pound black German Shepherd sat in a Denver shelter for 214 days. He had been returned twice. He refused to eat for the first 48 hours after every return. The shelter staff called him emotionally shut down. They said he had given up on people. Then a woman who had also given up on most things walked past his kennel on a Tuesday afternoon in March. What happened over the next 7 months, inside a house that had been quiet for far too long, is not a story about a rescue. It is a story about two things that were broken in exactly the same place, finding each other at exactly the right time. Diane Calloway was 48 years old and had been a high school librarian in Denver, Colorado for 19 years. She was organized and patient and good at her job and completely lost inside her own house. Her husband, Paul, had died 8 months earlier. Cardiac arrest, 51 years old, no warning. She had come home from work on a Thursday evening in July and found him in the kitchen, and that was the end of the life she had been living. The months after were a kind of surviving that didn't look like surviving from the outside. She went to work, she came home, she ate things from the refrigerator standing up without tasting them, she slept in the guest room because she could not make herself lie down on their side of the bed, she answered emails and nodded at the right moments, and got through each day the way you get through a room that is on fire, by not looking at the walls. Her sister Pam suggested a dog in February. She said it would give Diane a reason to get up in the morning. Diane said she already had reasons to get up. She got up every morning. Pam said she knew. She said it anyway. In March, on a Saturday, Diane drove to the Denver Dumb Friends League without calling ahead and asked a volunteer named Marcus if she could walk through the kennels alone. He said yes without asking why. She would think about that later. He was in kennel 31, a 90-pound black German Shepherd with a coat that should have been glossy and wasn't because he wasn't eating enough to keep it that way. He was lying in the far corner facing the wall, not sleeping, not pacing, just still in a way that felt chosen rather than accidental. His intake card said he was 4 years old, owner surrendered 14 months ago, returned by 2 separate adoption families in the 7 months since. The first family said he was too withdrawn, that they had expected a dog and gotten something they couldn't name. The second said he wouldn't connect, that it felt like living alongside a dog that wasn't really there. They had tried for 3 weeks before driving him back on a Sunday morning without making eye contact with the shelter staff. The staff understood. They had seen it before. Some dogs, after enough loss, simply stop presenting themselves as available. They had taken Koda off the adoption floor for 2 weeks after the second return, just to let him stabilize. He had eaten 1 meal a day for 11 days and spent the rest of the time in the back corner where the light didn't reach. The shelter had labeled Koda a difficult placement. Not dangerous, not aggressive, just gone somewhere inside himself that nobody had been able to reach. Diane stood outside his kennel for 11 minutes. He didn't turn around. She said his name, which she read off the card, Koda. He didn't move. She watched the rise and fall of his ribs. She asked Marcus what would happen to him if he wasn't placed. Marcus told her they tried very hard not to use that word. She said she understood what he meant. She filled out the adoption paperwork before she left. The first week was 2 people who didn't know how to be in a house together. Koda ate half his food the first night and left the rest. He slept in the hallway outside the guest room, which Diane discovered at 2 in the morning when she got up for water, and nearly walked into him. She apologized out loud to a dog in the dark. It was the first time in 8 months that she had said sorry to another living thing, and felt it was deserved by both of them. He didn't come when called that first week. He didn't engage with the toys she set out near his bed. He sat in the corner of the living room the way he had sat in the corner of the kennel, facing slightly away, present and absent at the same time. Her neighbor, Carol, knocked one afternoon and saw him through the doorway and asked if everything was all right because she said the dog looked like he was grieving. Diane said she thought he probably was. Carol stood on the porch for a moment and then said she was sorry, and she wasn't entirely sure which one of them she was talking to, and Diane wasn't either. The second week, something small shifted. Koda started sleeping closer to the guest room door instead of across the hallway. By week 3, he was inside the room, on the floor at the foot of the bed, breathing steadily in the dark while Diane lay awake and watched the ceiling the way she had watched it every night for 8 months. She didn't know if he was there for her or for himself. She decided it didn't matter. Something in the room had changed. It was less quiet than it had been. That was enough. By April, they had a routine, not a planned one that assembled itself the way routines do when two things are living together long enough to stop being strangers. Diane noticed it first on a Wednesday morning, when she realized she had not had to think about any part of it. It had simply become the shape of her day. He waited at the kitchen doorway every morning until she put the kettle on, then walked to his bowl. He sat beside the couch in the evenings while she read, close enough that she could feel his weight against her leg without touching him directly. He had started eating full meals. His coat had begun to come back. Diane started cooking again. Small things at first. Eggs, soup from a can that she heated properly, then pasta. Then, one Sunday in May, a full dinner that took 90 minutes, and that she ate at the kitchen table for the first time since Paul died. Koda lay under the table while she ate. She talked to him while she cooked. She told him about Paul. She said Paul would have liked him. She said Paul had always wanted a dog, but she had always said no, that the house was too small, and that she had been wrong about that, and about several other things, and that she believed Paul probably knew that and had never said so, which was the kind of man he was, and she missed that specific quality of him more than she could explain to anyone who hadn't lived alongside it. Koda listened the way he always listened, completely, without offering anything in return except his presence. She had come to understand that was not nothing. It was in fact the only thing that had helped. If you're still here and haven't subscribed, that honestly stings a little. Hit that button, because what happened on the 15th of July is the part of this story that I haven't told anyone easily. The 15th of July was the one-year anniversary of the night Diane came home and found Paul in the kitchen. She had known it was coming for weeks, the way you know a weather system is building before the sky changes. She had taken the day off work. She told no one why. She had planned to get through it the way she had gotten through the months before Koda. Be still, be quiet, wait for the day to end. She got up at 6 a.m. because Koda's internal schedule did not observe anniversaries. She fed him, she made coffee, she stood at the window for a long time looking at nothing in particular. Then she sat down at the kitchen floor, not at the table, the floor, with her back against the cabinet below the counter, in the exact position she had been in the night she found Paul. She had not done that since July of the year before. She did not entirely know why she was doing it now. She only knew that it felt correct in the way that certain things feel correct when you stop trying to make sense of them. Koda came to the kitchen doorway. He stopped. He looked at her on the floor. This was not part of the routine, and he knew it. He stood for a long moment, reading the room the way he read everything, and then he walked across the kitchen and lay down directly beside her. Not near her, against her. His full body pressed to her side from hip to shoulder, his head across her legs, 90 pounds of warm weight and steady breathing. She put her hand on his back. She felt his ribs rise and fall. She stayed on that kitchen floor for 1 hour and 43 minutes. She was not alone for a single second of it. She did not know until that morning how carefully he had been watching her. She did not know he had been cataloging which days she moved quickly through the house and which days she moved like she was underwater, which mornings the coffee sat cold on the counter, which evenings the light in Paul's study stayed on for 2 hours with no sound of pages turning. She had not been tracking any of it. She had been trying to get through. But Koda had figured it out. Nobody asked him to, nobody trained him for grief work or emotional support or the specific architecture of a house that has lost someone central to it. He had arrived broken and had spent 6 months quietly rebuilding while watching her do the same thing from the corner of every room. And on the day that mattered most, without a command, without a cue, without any explanation he could give and she could understand, he had come and lain down beside her on the floor. Diane called her sister that evening. Pam cried. Diane said she thought she had misunderstood the entire arrangement from the beginning. She had taken Koda because she needed something to keep her moving. She had not considered that he might be running the same calculation in reverse. Today, Koda is 5 years old. He sleeps at the foot of the real bed now, in the room Diane moved back into in September. He still waits at the kitchen doorway every morning when the kettle goes on. He still sits beside the couch in the evenings. He still listens when she talks, which she does more than she used to. The coat is fully back. He is the correct weight. He is not the dog the shelter labeled a difficult placement. He is exactly what he decided to become the moment a woman who had also stopped presenting herself as available stood outside his kennel and set his name into the corner. If you were considering adopting a dog that others had returned, that carries a label, that sits facing the wall and won't turn around, please consider this. They are not broken in a way that cannot be reached. Sometimes they are simply waiting for the specific person who is broken in the same place, because those are the only ones who understand that being still together is its own kind of healing. You may think you are going there to rescue them. You may find out they had a completely different plan. Would you adopt a dog that 2 families had already returned, or would the label have been enough to make you walk past? Tell me in the comments.